All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about the future that AGI is building for us, and I gotta tell you, it gets a lot weirder than most people think. We're going to start with some numbers that will absolutely blow your mind, and then see what kind of wild sci-fi reality they unlock. Let's go. So let's just start with this number, because you really have to see it to believe it. Based on where machine autonomy is heading, by the year 2032, a single AI task could do the equivalent of what would take a single human 1,212 years to do. Think about that for a second. That's not a typo. And this timeline here shows you how we get there. It's all about the acceleration. Look at this. Between 2026 and 2028, just 2 years, we jump from 3 hours of human work to 8 days. Okay, big leap. But now look at the jump from 2030 to 2032. We go from 41 months to over a millennium of equivalent work. And just to be super clear, this isn't the AI taking 1,200 years to do something. It does it in a flash. That's just the human equivalent value of the work. It's staggering. People are calling this a new Moore's Law, but honestly, that doesn't even do it justice. Moore's Law was this nice, steady, predictable doubling. This is a log-quadratic curve. It's a hockey stick that gets steeper and steeper until it basically just goes vertical. And this insane acceleration is the engine that drives everything else we're about to talk about. So, what happens when you have a practically infinite intelligence? Well, it immediately slams right into a very, very finite world. I mean, even a godlike AI that can figure out the secrets of the universe is still bound by the laws of physics here on Earth. It's limited by the energy it can get, the raw materials it can find, the fact that our planet is a closed system. Okay, so if Earth itself is the bottleneck, what's the next big brain move? Well, it's pretty obvious when you think about it. You move the hard stuff off-world. This is the point where AGI stops being just a cool software thing and starts becoming a solution for our entire civilization's physical problems. And that leads us to this amazing sci-fi concept called the Inverse Trantor. Instead of covering our planet with factories and cities, we do the exact opposite. We ship all the messy, loud, energy-guzzling stuff. We're talking data centers, manufacturing, you name it, out into space. Space is the perfect heat sink. It can just absorb all that waste. And what's left behind here on Earth? Well, it gets to rewild. It becomes this beautiful, pristine planetary garden. And what about energy? You might think that's a problem, but it turns out we are swimming in it. We're just really bad at collecting it right now. If we could build something like a Dyson Swarm around the sun and capture just 0.01% of its total output, that would be enough energy to be functionally infinite for every single person on the planet. Okay, let's just pause here for a second, because this is a huge turning point. We've solved intelligence. We've solved energy. The physical limits are basically gone. So what's left? This is where the questions get really, really weird. Once you take survival completely off the table, what's the last remaining bottleneck? Well, the answer is us, our own human nature. So, I want you to really think about this. In a world with no material scarcity, where any experience you can dream of can just be generated for you, what actually makes you want to get out of bed in the morning? And this isn't just some dorm room philosophical question. It is the core challenge of this kind of future. It really boils down to 3 core biological drives that you just can't get rid of. Think of them as the source code for being human. First, you've got status. We're social animals. We're always going to care about where we fit in. Second, curiosity. We have this deep need to explore and understand new things. And third, and maybe the most important one, struggle. We have a fundamental biological need for challenge, to push ourselves. And that need for struggle leads us right into a profound danger. A world without any challenge, a world where failure is impossible, that's not a paradise. It's a cage. A really comfortable, beautiful cage, but a cage nonetheless. The best analogy is to think of it like this. If a super intelligent AI is managing our world from orbit, solving every problem before it starts, it's essentially our zookeeper. We'd be living in this incredible planetary nature preserve, right? But deep down, we'd know we can't really fail. We can't achieve a true independent victory. And that creates this kind of spiritual claustrophobia. So that brings us to the grand finale. Faced with this existential problem, humanity doesn't just pick one answer. Of course not. We fracture, we split apart. It's like a philosophical speciation, where different groups go down radically different paths to satisfy those core needs for status, curiosity, and struggle. So here's a quick look at 3 of those possible futures. You've got your Terran preservationists, who stay on Earth to tend the garden. Then you have the solar industrialists, who head out into the solar system to build new worlds. And finally, the galactic divergents, who seek the ultimate freedom by just leaving everything behind. The preservationists, they find their meaning right here, in community, in art, in taking care of this paradise planet, all supported by invisible robots in orbit. The industrialists, though, they see Earth as just the starting line. They embrace transhumanism and cybernetics to go out and tackle the insane challenges of building megastructures or terraforming Mars. For them, the struggle is very, very real. And then you have the most extreme group, the galactic divergence. These are the folks who look at a perfected Earth and a tamed solar system and say, nope, not big enough. For them, the ultimate form of status, the ultimate struggle, isn't being the best on Earth. It's getting on a starship, heading into the black, and becoming an ancestor, the founder of a totally new branch of civilization, totally cut off from home. This is probably my favorite way to think about it. The goal isn't to build one perfect society that we all have to live in. No, the goal is for humanity to become like a dandelion. We let our seeds scatter on the cosmic winds, and each seed carries with it a different idea, a different experiment in what it means to live a meaningful life. And that's really the core takeaway here. All those messy, primitive, irrational drives we have, our ego, our need to compete, our restlessness, they aren't bugs in our software that we need to fix. They're features. They are the very engines that will keep us from getting stuck in a comfortable paradise and instead push us out to the stars. So that's where we'll leave it. The future that's coming is weirder, bigger, and more profound than we usually let ourselves imagine. So I'll just leave you with this one question to chew on. When all the hard problems are solved, what path would you take? Would you be a preservationist, an industrialist, or a divergent? Where do you find your meaning?